Hey, 7th graders, welcome to 2.4, which is on multiplying and dividing integers. Before we had broken up adding and subtracting integers into two different sections. So adding integers was 2.1, or maybe it was 2.2, and subtracting integers, I think, was 2.3. What's nice about multiplying and dividing integers, they're all one. So multiplying and dividing integers, they have the same rules. Okay, so for here, remember, we had to memorize a couple of different set of rules for multiplying or for adding and subtracting integers. For multiplying and dividing, they have the same rules, which is super nice. And even better news, the rules to follow when multiplying and dividing integers, I think, are a lot easier than adding and subtracting, which you might not think seems logical, because sometimes, when you were younger, you thought multiplying and dividing was a little bit trickier. But man, the rules, I think, for integers are a lot easier. Yeah. So just a quick reminder that multiplication is repeated addition. So what 3 times 2 means is 2 added together 3 times. Okay, so 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, and 3 times 2 is also 6. All right, so now when we do that with negative numbers, when we introduce negative, you can just think of 3 times 2, and instead of being positive 2, it's negative 2. So negative 2 plus negative 2 plus negative 2 would give us negative 6. Okay. Here's our first example, and we're going to use a number line to do it. It says use a number line to find each product. First, it wants you to use the commutative property. So remember, that's just when you switch the order. So it was negative 7 times 2, and now they'll do 2 times negative 7. You don't really need to do this every single time. You can kind of ignore this step. But just remember that when you use the commutative property, it means you can change the order when you're multiplying or adding. Okay, so think about it as being repeated addition. Negative 7 is being repeated twice. Okay, and here that is. Starting at 0, you've got negative 7, and it's being repeated again, plus negative 7 to give us a total of negative 14. Okay. And then for letter B, it says negative 8 times 3. Again, they'll use the commutative property first to just switch the order of those two things. But remember that it's just like adding negative 8 3 times. So there you see it represented on the number line, negative 8 3 times. Okay, so our total, negative 8 plus negative 8 plus negative 8 would give you negative 24. Okay. Check it out 1A. And 1B, why don't you pause, try these on the back side of your sheet. Okay, negative 3 times 2 isn't on the sheet, but good practice. It's like saying negative 3 2 times. So negative 3 plus negative 3 gives us negative 6, or same thing as negative 3 times 2. This one is on your sheet, so it's like saying negative 5 added 3 times. Okay, so negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5 would give us negative 15. Okay, using the number line to do it is one way to do it. I'll give you another way here in just a minute. Okay, little reminder here that multiplication and division are inverse operations, or they undo each other. And it wants you to take a look at those patterns shown here. Okay? It says the pattern below suggests that when the signs of integers are different, so if one is positive and one's negative, their product or quotient is also negative. And the pattern suggests that when the product or quotient of two integers is positive, when they're the same. Okay, so let's take a look at that and check it out. So I've got negative 3 all the way down the line. on both sides, and that's being multiplied by 210, -1, -2. And then they give us the answers for those. Okay, so the one pattern that I want you to notice is that when you take two integers with different signs, their answer is negative. So this is a negative times a positive. They have different signs. One's negative, one's positive. When you multiply them, you get a negative answer. Okay? That is the same with division over here. Okay? When you divide two numbers and they have different signs, this one's positive, this one's negative, their answer is going to be negative. And you'll see the same pattern with same sign. So these both have negatives. That's the same sign. Your answer is going to be positive. Here we have positive answers. And it's the same here. Two negatives multiplied together, well, they have the same sign, so your answer is going to be positive. All right, I think they give you that, in this graphic organizer here. Definitely the most important part of the lesson today. You'll also see this in the back of the room. It's on that integer rules poster, but please pause the video here and write this down. Biggest idea of the day, most important piece of our lesson. Here's the rules. If you're multiplying two numbers and the signs are the same, so like a positive times a positive, you'll get a positive answer. Or a negative times a negative, you'll have a positive answer. Or it works with division too. So you could say a negative divided by a negative, it'll be a positive answer. They have the same sign. Different, one is positive, so a positive divided by a negative, or a positive multiplied by a negative will give you a negative answer. Okay? I remember it this way. Same sign is a positive number, different sign is a negative number. And that's only when multiplying and dividing. This is not true for adding and subtracting. They have a different set of rules that we've already discussed. Only when multiplying and dividing. Okay, so let's try that out here for example 2. -6 times -5. Okay, I'm thinking to myself here, both signs are negative, so the product is positive because they have the same sign. So 6 times 5 is 30. Next one, do they have the same sign or different sign? Well, here my 4 is negative and my 7 is positive. So my answer, my product, that's the answer to a multiplication sign, is going to be negative. So -28 would be my answer. All right, flip over to the back for the check it out. Pause the video, see if you get it right. All right, -2 times -8, they have the same sign, so I'll have a positive answer, and 8 times 2 is 16. That's going to be positive. And the next one, I have a negative and a positive, different signs. My answer is going to be negative, and 3 times 5 is 15. So -15 would be my answer. Okay. Example 3, moving on then to the back side. It says find each quotient. Now we're just using division. Again, same sign or different sign? Different sign, positive, negative. My answer is going to be negative when I have different signs. And -7. Okay. Again, think about them as without the signs for just a second. Signs are different. So your answer is negative. And in this one, 32 divided by 8, that's what you're going to think about. Yeah, that's 4. Now think about my signs. Same sign or different sign? They're the same. So my answer in the end will be positive. So +4 is my answer. Lastly, with letter C, 48 divided by 6 is 8. same sign. Okay, sorry, I was cut off there, but I think we ended right around here. We're thinking about 48 divided by 6 is 8. And then notice their signs are different. So the quotient, or the answer to a division problem, is going to be negative. And let's go on to the check it out section. Okay, find each quotient. Negative 12 divided by 3 and 45 divided by negative 9. Pause and try these out. Okay, different signs for letter A, so it should be negative, and 12 divided by 3 is 4, so negative 4. And for letter B, again, different signs, so I should be thinking that my answer is going to be negative, and 45 divided by 9 would give me 5. Okay, so negative 5 for the second one. Yeah, we've already done this. Little reminder here that 0 divided by any number is 0, but you cannot find an answer for division by 0. For example, negative 6 divided by 0 cannot equal 0 because 0 times 0 is definitely not negative 6. So we say that division by 0 is undefined. A lot of times in your calculators, it will just say error if you try to do that. So just a quick reminder there. Lastly, for example 4, it says Mrs. Johnson kept track of a stock she was considering buying. She recorded the price change each day. What was the average change per day? Okay, so we're looking for average. Remember, average, you add up all your data points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you divide by how many there are. Okay, so find the sum, in other words, add, of the changes in price. Okay, so when we do that, we have to take and add those. Negative 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus negative 5 plus 6 would give us a total of 5. Let's just double check that. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus negative 5 would give me negative 1, plus 6. Negative 1 plus 6, yep, will give me 5, okay. And then divide that by the number of data points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So added them up, which is 5, divided by 5 would give us 1. So the average change was $1 per day. Okay, pause the video for the last check it out. Hopefully you came up with negative 5 when you added all of these together, and then dividing that by 5 to find the average would be negative 1, okay, for the day. Lastly, we'll end with the lesson quiz here, 1 through 4. Again, pause the video, try to see if you get these right. And our answers for 1, 2, 3, and 4 are as follows. Okay, remember, biggest thing from today, different signs when multiplying or dividing is a negative number. And if you have the same sign, you're going to get a positive number. Biggest idea of the day. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it wasn't so bad. And that's all I've got. I'm signing out. You guys have a great rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions.